Well, folks, welcome to a brand new year, 2023, now in the past, in the books, 2024 here and ready for all of you. It's time to take advantage, and today we're looking at how the entertainment industry is likely to be utterly transformed this year in ways that, of course, the mainstream corporate media is usually not prescient enough to understand. But we have experts today to tell you what is coming down the pipe. And folks, it may be bigger and stranger than what you had previously anticipated. Here's what's coming for entertainment this year. Hello, folks. Welcome back, and, well, happy brand new year. And also, happy one-year anniversary to this channel. The wdwpro channel started just 1 year ago. 57,000 subscribers later, and something like 22 million views later, I would say it was a success. Hollywood is looking for similar success in 2024, but that may be difficult to find. The Hollywood strikes are having a profound impact on their ability to get content out the door, and the content they are creating is not very popular with audiences. See Aquaman 2, see Ant-Man Quantumania, see The Marvels, see Wish. Do we need to keep going? Indiana Jones, we'll stop. You get the idea. And there are significant ramifications coming from this, as well as a political climate and an economic climate that are extremely dangerous and difficult for Hollywood. Folks, we've got two absolute experts that we've asked to give their thoughts on what's happening with entertainment this year. You don't want to miss this one. This is where you go to find out what the news will be very soon. Let's dive in. John, tell us briefly what do you think is going to be coming out in the news stories for 2024?
I think there's going to be a lot of politics in 2024 because it's an election year. So you're going to probably see a lot of politicians making a lot of statements, and I think that would probably be some of the biggest stories out there. Obviously, I think the wars that are still happening across the globe will still probably be top stories. As far as entertainment, I think it's probably going to be what we're already kind of seeing, or hinting at what we're seeing is a lot of contraction from the studios. A lot of people not making as many television shows, not making as many movies, and kind of spacing them out. And we'll see whether or not Script Doctor's theory that having that reduction actually improves quality. I'm skeptical of it, but I do think it is a possibility. And I do think that there will be some studios that will probably make changes. I think Sony might be probably one of the better ones to do that, just given the fact that obviously their headquarters is in the United States now, but they still are somewhat a Japanese company and not fully on board with everything that we're doing over here. So I think we might see something from them. I think we've seen some stuff come out from them too, like Father Stew. So you might see some of them kind of move away from that. And they've also been bit really hard, right? They were the ones that did Ghostbusters, and I think they did Charlie's Angels too. That might have been, I think they did Charlie's Angels too, right? I'm not sure. I have to check that. So they've been bit pretty hard by going all in and having massive losses. So they might actually want to switch on that. I don't think Disney's going to change. I think you're probably going to see some doubling down on that. I do think that the Nelson Peltz proxy war will be a hot topic, especially here on the Pro channel. And
he's unsuccessful, John. I hope he's unsuccessful, because I think if he's unsuccessful, he'll get more board seats the next year.
Yeah, I think that's probably a huge possibility, right? You kind of bring the good out of the bad, right?
Yeah.
Is how I can see that. So he probably will be unsuccessful in his first go, but as we know with Nelson Peltz, he's not going to stop, right? I mean, we already saw in January where he kind of stepped away and was like, okay, let's see what you're going to do. And then he's like, well, you didn't really do what you said you were going to do. And he was back at it. So I think he will continue to put the pressure on him. And I think you might even see more people rally around him as we've already seen here towards the end of 2023. So I think that'll definitely be something to look at. I think Star Wars will be a big story. We'll see what happens with whether or not they actually go forward with the Rey movie. If they do the Filoni movie, I do think that will be of interest. Obviously, I think the Acolyte is going to be interesting as well. It will be a hot topic whenever that decides to show up. And then obviously, I think when you're looking at Marvel, especially at the box office, Deadpool 3, whether or not it actually will be really good and potentially provide Marvel with a life raft to kind of save them from the Marvels and all the Kang stuff and their downward trend. If that can bring them back, especially if they do it with the X-Men, and what they have planned for that. So that I think that is a huge story, big linchpin there that we're going to be looking at and following, because that is I think that's their only theatrical release from Marvel Studios in 2024. So I think those are going to be some of the big stories. I think you might also see different genres maybe coming to the forefront as well. I know I've been speaking with Chuck Dixon about this. He really thinks that kind of the superhero genre is at the end of its current life cycle, similar to how the westerns ended, I guess, in the 70s.
And
And
I think they killed it, though, is the thing. It could have lasted. They killed it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So I think we'll see maybe certain different genres coming out, and then also whether or not you see companies do try and tighten the belt. And we'll see what happens with DC too. Obviously, I think it's probably more rumor territory because it does look like they're set on kind of with the Superman legacy. But we now have those reports that Zaslav and what's Backish, I think his name, Bob Backish, the third Bob, over there at Paramount, having meetings about potentially merging those. So that kind of, I think, fuels the rumors that we saw earlier this year that the whole DCU slate was just a bait to try and get a buyer. So I think there might be something to that, and maybe following up on that story. So I think those are some things that we should look at moving into 2024 and kind of keeping stock of. I'm sure there will be other things that come up as we move forward, but those are kind of the things that I see.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the super chat. We've got a super sticker from Sutton Creek Productions. And Sutton, you have been so kind and so generous, and thank you so much for the $1.99. $1.99 represent. We've also got Nolan Thunder saying, I don't think there's a channel I've seen on YouTube who treat their viewers as well as this channel. VR, Casino, and the various guests out there. So often, once they reach a growth milestone, they forget. And we will do our best to have an attitude of gratitude and not forget. Nolan says about the viewers, whether they realize it or not, you guys always find fun ways to keep the viewership involved. It's our great goal to do that. And it's part of remembering that every single person matters. Every individual is massively important, and never treat not a single one poorly if you can at all avoid it. Randy Thodo says, financially speaking, how far does the stock need to go up for trying to kennel the dogs? Valiant, I know you've got to go. Valiant, if you're there, would you be able to answer this question as you exit the door?
I mean, Nelson Peltz is not the kind of guy that was ever going to put the dogs in the kennel, at least not very long. He expects performance. He didn't get involved in this to see mediocrity continue. I think the look, and I've said this before, the thing that brought Nelson Peltz back is when Bob Iger announced himself a 2-year extension in July. That was it. Peltz at that point was back because one of his biggest complaints was where Disney was going. He knows damn well that a lot of that is, or all of it is, on Bob Iger's shoulders. He complained about the lack of succession. That succession failed again after Peltz walked away the first time. And it's probably going to fail again. Anybody that thinks right now that Bob Iger is going to be gone in 26, let me just laugh at you, because he ended. I mean, at least not by his own design. He's going to stay there as long as he wants to stay there. And he will keep fending off any kind of succession tactics unless and until he can find somebody that he feels confident is going to do everything that he's told to do. Bob Iger wants a successor to continue to do things exactly as Bob Iger has done them. And that is why Disney will continue to be a massive, abject failure until that entire regime is taken out. The board is taken out and fully replaced. Nothing is going to change. I think if Peltz is not successful in this proxy fight, and the odds are that he probably won't be because of the size. Yeah, he's got a lot more than he had a year ago, but he still has a lot of headwind. And the reason that typically activist investors at his scale are successful is because you have a board that is willing to listen, to bring in a fresh voice. Disney is not. Disney has brought in other board members. They have brought in other board members recently, and they have brought in other board members from other quote-unquote activist investors. But what is the common thread? The common thread is that all of these people are Bob Iger acolyte kiss asses. The board and Bob Iger are not going to bring in a Nelson Peltz. or anybody else that he would so nominate, particularly a former CFO of the Walt Disney Company. They're not going to allow that to happen. They've been deflecting Nelson Peltz since the get-go. They're going to continue deflecting Nelson Peltz as much as they can. Nelson Peltz is going to need a lot more support. And if my suspicions come to fruition that 2024 is frankly not going to be a whole hell of a lot better for the Walt Disney Company than 23, then maybe not this go round, but next year, something might change. Now, the only thing, and I can tell you this now, my prediction for 24, everything at Walt Disney in 2024, calendar 2024, because they're already in fiscal 24, of course, is going to be very, very focused on making damn sure that they can report the first quarterly profit for DTC, as they promised, by the end of fiscal 24, by September 30th of next year.
And that means cuts.
Massive cuts, yes. And because they're not going to do it by growth. One of the things that could help is that if they try to pull a sneak with the conglomeration of Hulu and Disney Plus, right? But that all depends on when that deal could finally close. Now, that's one of the reasons, and as I've said before, that the Walt Disney Company wanted to make sure that the closure valuation for Hulu was pushed up to September 30th, 3 months ago. They wanted to lock in the value at that point. So that would give Disney extra time to go ahead and start pushing Hulu out, right? One of the complaints of Comcast, of course, was that they were deliberately hampering Hulu. They weren't trying to expand it internationally. They weren't putting a lot of effort behind, especially Hulu plus live TV. Disney wants to get out from under that so they can start doing that to bolster these DTC numbers. And eventually, what will happen, maybe not in the next year or two, but probably within the next 5, is that eventually Disney is going to start recasting their financial statements yet again, and they're going to have a breakout with effectively what amounts to cable subscription revenue is going to be a big thing at Disney, because they want to. Hulu with live TV, the $80 a month Hulu, is designed to compete directly against Comcast, Spectrum, and everybody else. That's what Disney wants to get to. They want to be effectively, once they have Hulu plus live TV built out the way they want, and this is why they haven't talked about it yet, is because they're still in negotiation with Comcast. And Brian Roberts and Comcast are not stupid. They damn well know this. Disney is going to be effectively a linear television competitor to Comcast in the next 5 years. But of course, it's going to be delivered via streaming as opposed to traditional linear methods, right? Through a cable itself. It's going to be done via streaming. They're going to be competing with YouTube TV. They're going to be competing with those types of services. They know they have to go down that road. So a lot of things are going to change for Disney in the next few years. And Disney better hope that works out for them, because traditional Disney, as we know it, is dead. It's dead as a doornail. Pixar, Disney Animation, Star Wars, Marvel, it's all dead. There's nothing left to it. It's going to be years before they can reinvigorate any of those properties. The parks don't have anything big on the horizon. Meanwhile, Comcast and Universal have Epic Universe. Disney is in a bad spot. They are way behind the 8 ball. And the only thing they can hope for in 24 is to get those streaming numbers to a point to where they can show that now we really are like Netflix. We can turn a profit. It might be $1, but they can show, I'll buy that for $1, but they can show that, hey, look, we met the mark we want. Yeah, we lost $17 billion on the way here, but we made $1 this quarter. So shut up. You know, that's going to be Disney's...
Take it, you plebes.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be Disney's poo-poo story for 2024.
And folks, we come to the close of yet another video of excellence here on the WDW Pro channel. Why is it excellent? Because you joined us, of course, and because of the excellent guests and analysis which we attempt to bring forth each and every time. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.